Hey guys, welcome back. And now let's talk about improving your tactical skills. So, after learning the basic motives, everything is improvement based. If I would give a percentage in over your chess career, over your lifetime, how much you learn a tactic and how much you improve, I think it would be 1% learning, 99% improving, right? Because once you learn them, you know those themes. There are not endless themes, so there's very little learning, but you need to do it. It's very important to have the basics. And then we just go to improving. So be aware that this is always active. Focus needs to be 110%. We are needing to think ourselves and come up with solutions. And it really doesn't help if we are not really there, if we are just trying out some moves. No, we need to be 110% focused. Well, how to improve? Obviously, you need to just solve exercises, solve puzzles, solve different positions. You can do it with a book, and there are also online resources. So again, both ways. I would generally recommend doing things with a book and a board if you can, because it's just so much less likely that you get distracted as when you're at the computer. Distractions are everywhere, right? But if you want to do it at the computer, it's fine. Just know that it is harder to keep yourself 110% focused, right? You need to know yourself and to decide what works best. And one actually very important thing many people don't realize, or don't do at least, is you have to learn from your mistakes. If you solve a puzzle and it is wrong, you don't only have to see the right solution, you need to understand, why did I actually solve this wrong? What went wrong, right? This is so important. So we'll talk also about how you actually learn from your mistakes when you solve puzzles. And then you just repeat it. And as I said before, it might get repetitive, but improvement is so important, getting those skills, and you will feel the difference in your games when you really do it well. And I think, winning those points and winning more games will be enough motivation to keep yourself going. Now let's talk about 3 key elements you need to be aware of when you solve tactical exercises. Number 1 is write down the answer before checking the solution. That is the most important thing, and I really want that you make this a habit, right? Whenever you see a tactical exercise, don't just play the move or don't just check the solution. No, write down what you thought, underline your solution, and then compare it with the solution of the book or of the online puzzle. That is so important. Step number 2, or rule number 2, would be try to solve several puzzles in a row. That means that you don't solve a puzzle and then check the solution, then solve a puzzle, check the solution, but you try to solve a puzzle, write down solution, solve a puzzle, write down solution, solve a puzzle, write down solution, and then go to check all the 3 solutions and compare them to what you wrote down. And number 3 is an additional idea. Set yourself a time limit, because during a game you also have time limits. So when you train and you want to solve exercises, you don't want to have 1 hour on a position where actually you want to excel in blitz and you have 30 minutes for a whole game, right? So you need to be aware that time limit is in the game, but this is a thing that you should only do if you feel quite confident already with solving. So if you just start out solving, don't stress yourself by setting a time limit, but once you get comfortable just solving in your normal rhythm, maybe you can stress yourself a little bit and put yourself in a bit more difficult spot by setting a time limit. Now let's just talk about a little bit more precisely about these 3 things. Why do we write down the solution? We write it down because it also stops try and error, right? You don't want to be at the lead chess and just make the first move that comes to mind. Oh, it's wrong. Make the second move that comes to mind. Make the third move that comes to mind. That has nothing to do with improving, with getting skills. Not at all. Because during the game, you cannot just make a move. Your opponent shows that it loses and you say, hey, sorry, man, I would like to move that back. Okay. Let's try one more. Oh, the second one was also lost. No, come on, one last time. That's not going to work, right? Good luck in finding that opponent that agrees to this. So yeah, it's just not how it is in the game. So we always want to take a responsible decision, and we need to write down to do that. Be aware that anything that you don't write down and is actually in the solution, you saw it wrong. Okay? Be strict with yourself. You really need to write down everything that matters in a certain puzzle. If you don't write something down, that means you didn't see it, and then you can think about why you didn't write it down, but there was something that you didn't see it or you didn't think it was important enough. Both of them is a mistake. And for some people, writing down actually also helps think more clearly. So if you're jumping still around in different moves and you cannot really think ahead very clearly, you can try to write down while you calculate, just as a little help. Okay, be aware you cannot do this during the game, but write down, okay, knight f6, g takes f6, okay, the pawn is now there, then I play queen h7 check, and now, just like this, it can help you get a little bit, logical thought process. And then once you can do that automatically, you can only write down once you see the solution. But writing down can help you think clearly. How to solve several puzzles in a row. As I said, it imitates the game. You have in a game, you don't have the solution of your last move once you make a move, right? You cannot take them back, but you also don't know if the last move was good. You are in an uncertain state of mind. And I want to imitate this by solving puzzles in a row. So when you write down the solution, you might think probably that was the right one, but you're not 100% sure, right? So you solve 12 puzzles and then only you go to see the solution. And that actually also avoids seeing the solution of the next puzzle, especially if you do it with books, right? Solutions are usually on the same page. So you might glance over and see, oh, second position, I saw bishop is, involved in the first move. So I need to find the bishop move. That's then too easy. And we don't want to destroy the puzzles like this. And you actually also save time because, going back and forth in a book, for example, just takes quite a lot of time. Be aware that this is a bit harder if you do it online, so you can leave that away. You can just do it as online. Obviously, it just shows you the solution once you get it right or wrong. But yeah, that's something you can do when you solve with a book, and also a reason why I really like to work with tactic books. And then the last one, again, this is a little additional one, just if you want a little bit more difficulty in your training and you want to get your adrenaline a little bit out. You want to have the training as the game. You want to have to think, oh, is that decision actually important, right? I have 12 puzzles and I have a maximum of half an hour and I need to find a decent move in all those 12 puzzles. So I can't stay at one puzzle for 25 minutes, right? I have this time constraint and I need to invest my time wisely. So that is an additional thing you can learn, especially if you have a lot of time trouble. That might be also a smart thing to do. But again, this is a little bit higher up training, but I just want to include it because it can be very interesting. And the adrenaline that pumps once you get in time trouble also during the training makes it harder for you to really stay concentrated, but it is similar as the game. And just as a last little advice, never try to spend more than 5 minutes on a position when you look for tactical possibilities. Why? Because during a game, especially if you play online Blitz and Rapid, but even if you play classical chess, you should spot the tactics quite quickly. So it is not helpful if you are used to having 15 minutes for some tactical operation in training, but during the game, you want to see this in 3-4 minutes maximum, right? So you need to start to cut down your time. Again, if you're just very new, don't overwhelm yourself with 17 different things. So just start with the basics, just writing down the solution. But once you are a little bit more advanced, really think about how should it be during the tournament, right? And then emulate this situation and try to put yourself in a harder situation in training, because you're more likely to then play better during the tournament. Okay, that's it for the theory. Now let's look at some great, amazing resources like Lichess and some books, and you will see how I use them to solve tactics and get better.